Okay, so I'm going to be removing a ball joint from a 1990 Nissan 240SX control arm. In this situation, if you can see here, I had actually cut the ball joint out because it was seized to the knuckle. So to cut that off, put on a vise, hammer it out using a pickle fork, and the normal stuff wasn't working in this case, so you're probably not going to have to deal with this. But you are going to have to press it out, and for that I use the ball. I'm going to be using a ball joint press that I rent from any auto parts store, or you can buy them from even stores like Harbor Freight or Tools or whatever it may be. But I'll show you how to do that. I'll show you the tool first. Alright, so for this I'm going to be using a couple of the adapters. Your kits may vary. Some of the adapters basically will be similar or slightly different, but the ones I'm going to be using are these. So this one is going to go push right on the top here. It's going to push the ball joint out, and I'm going to use this big circular one here under it, so it's big enough for the ball joint to go through. And then I got the other cup there, and then you're going to use the big C-clamp, G-clamp looking thing here to clamp it all together. And it takes a little bit of finesse to get it on there. So you can see I got it there, and I'm just hand tightening it here again to get it snug. And then I'm going to go to town on it with the impact. You don't need to use an impact, obviously. You could use just a normal ratchet, but I'm going to be using an impact just because it's quicker. Okay, so my impact actually won't fit up there, not enough room, because the C-clamp's too gigantic. So I'm hoping that this works by hand, so we'll see how it goes. You can watch me try. Alright, let's see, it's as far as I can go. See if it made any progress. Yep, it came out. Well, almost out. Then I can get it out the rest of the way, so. Boom. So there you go, that's how you remove the ball joint. Now 240SX, and I'll show you how the new one goes in here in just a sec. Alright, so you can see here, old ball joint. Pretty simple how they go in. They press in from the bottom up, and then they've got a C-clip there holding it in. So right now what I'm going to do is clean up this hole here, brake clean it, maybe put a little bit of grease in there to help the new one slide right in. Then I'm going to put the C-clip on and be good to go. I got to put my whole knuckle and everything back together here. But here, I'll show you how that goes after I clean it up. Here's a quick old versus new shot here. Obviously, this is only the part of it, but you can see the bottoms are going to be the same, everything like that. So just make sure the parts store gave you the right one, or you ordered the right one, because I've had the parts stores give me the wrong ones in the past. Okay, so not exactly how I want to do it, but this is how I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to use a socket because the adapters that it comes with here, they end up being too wide. See if I can show you here. Right here, these. They're too much for it to be able to fit and push up and everything. I tried as best I could. It wasn't going to work. I couldn't get them on. So I'm going to try and get it started with the socket and then continue on with these. So we'll see how that goes. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start cranking on it, see if it starts going in. Alright, so that should be it. I'm going to take this off and Take a quick look-see. Show you there, it's flush. So I'm going to take it off and verify that the C-clip will go on, and then I should be good to reinstall the rest of everything there. Alright, and here you can see the top of the ball joint. You can see it sealed up nicely. It went up in just like it was supposed to. Now I just got to put my C-clip on with some C-clip pliers, and then of course put that boot back on. I had to take that boot off because this guy was too fat to pop up through there, and I was afraid it was going to rip forcing it through, so I took it off. It just goes right back on, and then there's these little metal clip that holds the bottom on. And there's some grease in there, not a whole lot, so I'm gonna go ahead and grease this as well. You know, once I put it all back together, I'm gonna grease that up. Alright, so you can see here I got the C-clip back on. For that I used some C-clip pliers. I used a set that's got a couple of different interchangeable heads. So, depending on the C-clip, it can vary how that goes. But basically, squeeze this, put it in the holes, and as you squeeze it, it opens it up, snap it in. It didn't open up enough to slide all the way on there, so I had to get it halfway on as much as I could. And I took a little chisel and just tapped it the rest of the way, and then I did it all the way around to make sure it seated properly. And then from there, I'm just going to put the boot back on and then, reassemble the rest. In case you're wondering how the C-clip pliers work, they just poke right into the holes there, and then as you squeeze the top, it opens up. You can see it doesn't open up much, but it opens up enough. And then from there you can slide it around and whatnot, but I am not going to do that because I'm leaving it and putting it back together.